We are looking at canine cardio in the home today. So these are exercises that any dog can enjoy, but really important for those dogs who may struggle, out and about in the big world. They may have some big feelings, they may feel anxious or stressed going out and about. And so that can be a real challenge to be able to give them some good cardio exercise. So let's have a look at the benefits of cardio first. So aerobic exercise, it stimulates neuronal growth factors. So that helps to grow new neurons. It also increases connections from new and existing neurons. Exercise as well is going to stimulate the important neurotransmitter serotonin, and exercise, just like us humans, is going to improve sleep. So that means that improved sleep results in replenished neurotransmitters, and that results in a dog who can think more clearly and act in a calmer way. So just like with us humans, we hear the fine 30, it's important to get our heart rate up. It's the same for our dogs as well. It's really good kind of exercise for them. So what you're looking for is we're looking for that increased heart rate. So what you should be seeing is a bit of kind of open mouth panting from your dog to know that that heart rate is up, they're working, and then really important to allow them kind of some nice relaxing exercises to help them cool down as well. So let's look at some little games that we can do in the home. Okay, so first one, boomerang bowling. So what we're doing here is we're sending our dog away from us, just like we would a boomerang, and then they're going to come running back to us. We can do this in a really small space. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some of their dog's food. We're going to toss the food away from us. As the dog chases and eats the food, we then call our dog. They then come running back towards us, just like a boomerang would come flying back towards us. We're then going to throw another bit of food away, and again repeat the process. So a couple of safety tips before we watch the video. One, make sure it's a non-slip surface. We don't want any injuries from any twisting or turning and slipping. So make sure that we're kind of working in a nice safe area. Think about treat selection. Anything that crumbles or breaks into too smaller pieces can kind of take too long for the dog to eat. So we're not getting that kind of speed and that intensity that we're looking for to get that heart rate up. So something, like a little chunk of doggy polony, some of their kibble that you can throw, anything like that can work really nicely. And also, to keep it safe for us humans, we're doing underarm bowling. Okay, so we're going to throw the food underarm. That way we're kind of managing the intensity. Dogs aren't going to be jumping or leaping high trying to attempt to catch the food. We're kind of keeping it nice and low to the ground. So we want it to be fun but not frantic. All right, so let's watch a video on boomerang bowling. Lando. 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 Okay, so we're going to look at beep test bowls now. So hopefully you remember, good or bad memories, beep tests from high school, right? So it's about getting that heart rate up, moving quickly from point to point. So what we're going to do with our dogs, we're going to get 4 to 6 bowls, any sort of like little plastic bowls or plates, even use the lids of some plastic containers, and you're going to space them out in your area. We're going to place a treat on one bowl. As the dog eats the first treat, we're moving to the next bowl. Okay, so we're going to move quickly with the dog, and then we're going to call them to us. As they run towards us, we're going to place the treat in another bowl. Again, we then repeat it. So as the dog grabs that treat, we're moving to another bowl. Call the dog, they sprint towards us, we feed in the bowl, and so on. So again, do this at the speed that's going to suit you. So move at a steady pace, the human. We don't want any twists or turns injuring us, and absolutely we don't want any injuries to the dogs either. So making sure, like all of these exercises, we're doing it on a non-slip surface, and we're focusing on that the game is fun, heart rate is up, but it's not frantic. Lando. 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 Good boy. Tug and treats is our next game. So most dogs really enjoy the game of tug. So we're going to turn this into a little aerobic exercise for them. So we're going to get the dog interacting with us, playing with tug. We're then going to cue a swap. So basically we say the word swap and then we're going to scatter several treats on the ground. Okay, so the dog will release the tug to get the food. So they're going to grab the food off the ground, and then once they finish that food, we start the tug game again. So again, we're playing that tug. We cue swap, scatter feed on the ground, and again repeat. So a few safety tips and guidelines for this. As always, non-slip surface. With the tug toy, keep it low to the ground. Think about nice, gentle, flowing movements. We don't want jerky, erratic kind of movements that can cause kind of the dog to get too aroused or potentially cause injuries. So think about that it's a game, you know, and you give a little and then the dog gives a little. So, you know, it's a nice game between the two of you. It's definitely not a battle. Scatter feeds between the tug is one going to help the dog release the tug, so they then go to scatter feed and get food off the ground, and it's a really important one to help lower arousal. So tug games can absolutely get dogs pretty excited, so we need to manage that. Again, we're focusing on fun, not frantic, so use those scatter feeds to help that dog come back down, and then by all means restart the game.
Good job. Well done.
Now we have FLIRTPOLE Fitness. So you can get FLIRTPOLEs really cheap. If you jump onto somewhere like eBay and put in dog FLIRTPOLE, you'll come up with quite a selection. So the idea with this is that instead of it being a tug game, this is more of a chasing game for the dog. So they're going to chase the FLIRTPOLE, and by all means they then grab the little toy that's at the end of the FLIRTPOLE. Similar to our game of tug and treats, we then cue the swap. So we're just going to say swap. Doesn't matter if the dog doesn't know what it means yet, they'll learn, because whenever they hear swap, it is then followed immediately by a scatter feed on the ground. So dog releases the toy at the end of the FLIRTPOLE. They're going to eat up the food on the ground, which gives us the opportunity to move away a little bit, prepare for that next repetition, and then dog finishes food and they start chasing the FLIRTPOLE again. So a few safety tips. Again, non-slip surface, we've covered that many times. We're looking for wide arcs and flowing movement. Okay, so no tight turns, no bending, no twisting. We want it to be nice arcs. Make sure we're balancing it out. So sometimes the FLIRTPOLE might go in a clockwise kind of circle for the dog to kind of chase, but then also balance that up and go anti-clockwise as well. This is a chasing game, it's not a tugging game. So as soon as they grab hold of the FLIRTPOLE, we don't want them to start tugging that. So as soon as the chase is being completed, so they've kind of gotten to the tug, they've grabbed hold of it, instead of starting a tugging game, we're going to cue our swap and do the scatter feeds on the ground. Okay, again, the scatter feeds are going to help lower arousal, reset for that next repetition, and as always, we're focusing on fun and not frantic.
Lando. Boy. Swap. Good boy.
Aim to play these games with your dog, around 5 times a week. Remember to warm them up. So just like when we're doing exercise. So again, it can be a sniffy walk around the backyard before we start playing any of the more high intensity games. Aim for between 10 and 20 repetitions of each exercise. The aim is we were looking for that aerobic exercise, right? So we want that heart rate up, look for that kind of soft half mouth open pant. That way you know that you're on track. And really importantly, once we finish the exercises, the last few reps, kind of slow it down a little bit so your dogs can kind of start to lower that heart rate, and absolutely think about how you're going to cool them down. So walking them, again, keep them moving, go for a little sniffy walk around the backyard together can be a really nice option. So hopefully that's a few fun games you can play with your dog in your own home. Again, keep it safe, keep it fun, and hopefully it gives your dog a really nice aerobic workout. So happy training.